Good morning, everyone. Today I'm coming to you live from a Hot Topic store. I will say I feel a lot more comfortable and at home in this location compared to the last location that you caught me at. There are many chains, there are many studs, there are many spikes, and honestly, it's just tapping right at my little black heart, isn't it? Hello, everyone. Once again, I didn't know where to start off. I also don't need to hold this microphone. I didn't know where to start off a green screen video, but once again, we are in front of a green screen. This is the second iteration of the green screen. I have only used it these 2 times, and so I'm still a little nervous about using it, and I hope this all goes well. But today we have a video that I am so over the moon excited about. So this video came to my mind when I was just watching some videos on YouTube, and I was like, this is kind of a big thing on YouTube. Why don't I do a reselling type of version of it? And I was like, how do I do that? So there's this type of video that goes around, and it's ranking videos. I feel like last year and the year before, we saw a lot of iceberg videos. If you're like a big YouTube watcher, you know what those are. It's like tiers of information about a certain topic. This year, and kind of at the end of last year, there's been this big focus on ranking and tier list making videos. And I, like I just said, really wanted to make my own. And so the way that I thought I could do it is by going through some of the oldest BOLO videos that I or Ryan and I have made and ranking them as to if they are still a BOLO, are they a NOLO, that type of thing. So I am over the moon excited. I really hope that this works out. I'm gonna have to screen share from my laptop with you guys for this video. This took a little while to kind of create. I had to go back and watch quite a few of our old videos and write down all the old BOLOs that we have. And I will say, we've got some doozies in store. There are definitely some changes that have happened here. And I just can't wait to do this with you guys. So if you guys like this, please let me know. Because of course we have many more BOLO videos that we could go through to do this with. We could also do this with old NOLO videos. We even have a NOLO video from 2018, and I'm sure that has changed too. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited to do this. So we're gonna jump into this pretty quick. But yes, again, I will explain it to you a little bit more when we get the screen popped up behind me of what it looks like. We'll go over the tiers that I created, and then we'll jump right into doing the actual rankings. And I'll give you a little explanation for each one because we have quite a few to go through. So we have 6 videos to go through today from a long time ago. I thought it'd be most interesting to go to the oldest stuff. So we have 4 from 2018. Most of these being ones where it was just me making them, and it was back when I was in my college dorm. And then we have a 2019 one where it was Ryan's first BOLO being with me, and he had no idea what he was doing. And then we have a newer one because it is our top 10 favorite brands to sell of all time, kind of our first iteration of that, because there have been a lot of changes with that as well. And I will tell you really quick before we jump into this, I have not mentally ranked any of these in my own mind yet. I did obviously look at all the list of brands. I had to save all the logos of them, and I did create the rankings, but I have not went through and wrote out where I'm gonna rank them. So this is all totally natural on the spot rankings. Let's get into this, shall we? So let me start my screen recording and it'll pop up behind me in a second. So let's get that screen a-going, shall we? All right, so you guys can now see what my tiers are. Let's start off with the best tier, which is the top in green, and we'll work our way down to the bottom. So the top tier is Love You More. And what I mean by that is this is a brand that I would say I like a lot more than I even liked in the past. So what this would mean is I probably hunt it out more nowadays. I would know maybe better what to do with it. It's just a brand that I love now. And back then it was maybe just a BOLO to me. Down one tier, the second highest tier is called A Growing Bond. So those are brands that once again, I feel like I have started to like more and I've maybe had more experience with them. So they are even more of a BOLO than they used to be for me. Same old means I feel like my relationship with this brand is exactly the same as it was before. This brand has not gotten any worse, but it definitely hasn't gotten any better. It's not more popular now, nothing like that. Then we move down another, we're getting into the negative ones. We have She Needs Some Help. And what I mean by that is this brand is definitely slipping. It is not as good as it used to be, but I wouldn't totally rule it out. It just isn't as good as it used to be. So it's working its way towards NOLO, but it still has time and it still has the opportunity to fix itself and maybe gain some resale value back by maybe having like a new marketing thing or having some boost in popularity from like a social media website or something. And then the bottom tier, the worst of all, is NOLO, stay away from me. So this is obviously the brands where I do not pick them up at all anymore. The fact that I consider them a BOLO at any point in time is shocking and I can't believe it. So let's jump into this, shall we? So I'm gonna put up, I think really quick behind me, the pictures of the thumbnail of the video that we're talking about, because I actually did write what videos these come from. So the oldest one that we're starting with is called Brands You Should Be Grabbing to Resell. This was like my third or fourth video that I ever made. This is a really old one. It is from April 19th, 2018. So we're gonna go through these brands and we are going to put them where we think they go. First up, I considered Frame to be a BOLO back then. So Frame denim, known for jeans, they totally were a BOLO back then, but Frame is definitely not a BOLO anymore. This is also gonna take a second because the website had to totally randomly organize it. So I actually have to look for where these brands are on this page. All right, I found Frame. Frame, I think I would put in She Needs Help. Frame definitely is not a complete NOLO. If it's a skinny jean or something, I definitely will skip it at the bins, but there are certain specific ones like Frame 2022 and onward pieces that are definitely still worth getting. I'd pay up just a titch for them if I saw them, maybe like $12 to $15 if they were really, really good, like a baggy dad jean or something. But she is not a BOLO anymore. I would not label it as a BOLO. So she's moved down to She Needs Some Help. Again, if Frame suddenly had a boost in popularity, she could find herself way back to being a BOLO. We'll see. Next up is a brand called Vix, or VIX, and that is this little logo right here. So Vix is a swim brand, and I used to every once in a while find it when I lived in Iowa, and I did love this brand. I think I had a really good sale of it once, and so I was like, oh my gosh, this brand is amazing. I would actually put Vix also in She Needs Some Help. I recently found a Vix, and so I've done research in the past like month and a half on Vix once again, and I don't know if I would call it a BOLO anymore. It's definitely good, or like okay, but I wouldn't pay much for it. I'd probably really only get it at the bins. So I think She Needs Some Help is where Vix belongs because she needs some help. Next up is a brand called NSF. Once again, I think I just happened to have one time where I experienced it and then I was like, oh, this is such a good brand. NSF is not a good brand. NSF is very teetering between She Needs Some Help and NOLO. It's an expensive brand retail, but it is not popular. The Real does not mark it up. It does not have good resale value. I honestly think I would put NSF on NOLO. It would have to be the best piece on the face of the earth for me to pick it up. I would not pick up NSF at all. Next up we have Sundry. So now we're starting to date ourselves for sure. With the Frame and the Sundry, like you can tell this is an old BOLO list. Sundry, I almost never buy it at all. Even if it is Anthro or even if it is like Evereve, I wouldn't say that I rule out every single Sundry piece ever. So I guess I would do She Needs Some Help because I am not totally against ever getting it again, but I'm definitely not trying to ever pick it up again. So that's Sundry. Then we have Current Elliott. Current Elliott is, again, we're dating ourselves here because I can see Current Elliott being worth picking up when Frame was worth picking up. So Current Elliott is, I would say, a NOLO. There is almost nothing from Current Elliott I would ever pick up. In the bins, I skip it. In the thrift store, I skip it. Like, again, like NSF, it would have to be the best piece of Current Elliott ever, like a leather trench coat or something, for me to pick it up. Otherwise, Current Elliott is a total NOLO. That brand has totally died. Up next, we have Zadig and Voltaire. And I have to tell you guys this because it's so funny. So I was watching this video, obviously. I love Zadig and Voltaire. It's a brand that I just love for myself, and I love their style. When I was filming this video back in 2018, I was like, so the next brand that I have to tell you guys about today is this brand, I don't really know it, and I think it's pronounced Zadig and Voltaire. And I was laughing so hard because I was like, the fact that I now love Zadig, and back then I didn't even know what it was, is so funny. Zadig, I'd say same old, same old. I don't think Zadig has gotten better per se, but I would not think it's gotten worse. It used to always have good pieces and bad pieces. It still has good and bad pieces. I still can sell it really quick depending on the piece. She hasn't really gotten worse or better, so that's okay. Then we have Sundance. Sundance, I would also label as same old, same old. Sundance is still a brand that I pick up all the time. I would still tell people that it is a BOLO brand, but I wouldn't say that it's gotten any better. There are still misses from Sundance. I still wouldn't pick up the old stuff, and back then I wouldn't have picked up really old stuff either. So she's kind of the same, sitting right at a good, solid BOLO. Then we have a brand called Especi, and this is another one where we are totally, Jack was having recency bias with this piece because I think I had just found an Especi piece and was really excited about it. So I was like, this is a brand everyone should know. I have never had it since. I only had it in 2018 and have never had it since. I did do a little research on this, and I would argue Especi is still at the same level of a BOLO as it was before. It's a really expensive men's brand. I have not heard about it, seen it, whatever, for forever, but if you saw Especi, I would tell you to pick it up. So I think same old, same old. Then we have Rails. This testament of time is Rails. I know that everyone's not going to be in agreement with me on this one. I would put Rails on same old, same old. I think I love it just as much as I used to. I think back then pieces were hits and misses. I think now pieces are hits and misses. I still love it. I love to do the sweaters. I love to do the flannels, of course. I love to do the jackets. I love Rails so much. Rails and Wild Fox, I feel like came into my peripheral, I don't know, at the same time. And it's funny just to see them with each other because Wild Fox, which actually is not on this list, would be a NOLO at this point. And Rails has kind of stayed alive, so that's interesting. Then we have Rebecca Taylor. Again, this is totally dating this video because Rebecca Taylor used to be a wonderful, wonderful brand to sell. I still personally love Rebecca Taylor pieces, but it is not a BOLO anymore. It usually does quite bad unless it's a La Vie Rebecca Taylor anthro piece, or if it's just really, really, really good. I don't consider Rebecca Taylor to be a NOLO, but she needs some help for sure. Rebecca Taylor needs the lifeline. She needs the shocks to go right back into her chest because she's kind of fading and her value is not as good as it used to be. Then we have Johnny Was. Johnny was actually mentioned in a bunch of these videos that I looked at, so I was really into Johnny Was back then, but I think we all were, so that makes sense. I would love to put Johnny Was at same old, though she needs some help because Johnny Was's value and sell-through rate is nothing like it used to be. I would still call it a BOLO, which is why I didn't put the middle tier as BOLO, because a lot of these that maybe even fall under she needs some help technically are still BOLOs. I would say Rebecca Taylor and Vicks, I guess look for it at the bins. It's a be on the lookout at the bins. Johnny Was is still a BOLO, but she has faded. She is falling from grace, and she needs some help. So that's where Johnny Was goes. And last up for this first video that we were looking at is a brand called Genuine People. This is really odd. I, again, must have been having recency bias because I don't really know what Genuine People is. It looks like they make some really interesting clothing. It's kind of like an Especi situation where I think it is worth money, but I can't say that I know a lot about it now, and I don't hear about it ever. So I'm only gonna put that in same old because I don't think my relationship with it has changed. I've still only had one piece. I probably should have looked a little bit more into the Genuine People. Moving on to our second video, and I'll let you guys know, some of these lists are 12 brands, some are 8, some are even less. This was back in the day when they weren't even called BOLO videos for me, and they also weren't even top 10 lists. They were just brands you should be picking up. So these are old. So this list was called Brands you need to be picking up. That was my YouTube title. This one is from May 31st, 2018, so only like a little over a month later, but I had picked up a few more brands to add to this list and I had altered it a little bit. So there were some repeats and I totally cut those out of this list, like Johnny Was in Sundance, I think I mentioned again. But there were a couple new brands on this video. So starting off this video is Helmut Lang. Helmut Lang is definitely still a good one to pick up. I think it's maybe just a titch less popular than it used to be, but I would argue it's still fairly similar. So I think that Helmut Lang is a comfortable same old ranking. I would be about as excited as I used to be to pick it up, and I think it still can sell well. I don't know. Same old, same old. Then we have Kenzo. Kenzo is another one that I would say is same old, same old. I can't believe that I even in Iowa found Kenzo. I found a Kenzo like palm tree dress, and I haven't found it a bunch since. I have found it a couple times, like maybe 2 or 3. It was like a pair of shoes, and then I think I found like a button-up denim shirt. And it's good. It's definitely still a BOLO. I would not say it's gotten any better, but I don't really think it's gotten any worse either. Then we have COS. COS, I was kind of surprised that I knew COS back in early 2018 and was already confident enough to label it as a brand to pick up. Oh, part of me almost thinks COS is something I like more now than I used to, but I feel like the level of BOLO that it is about the same that it used to be. COS is just another one of those brands that I think has like withstood the test of time and is very good to pick up and kind of always has been. So I don't think COS has earned the growing bond. So I'm just gonna put COS in same old, same old. Don't worry, there are some brands that will be higher up. These old ones are of course just a little more questionable because they're old. So next up we have Ronnie Kobo. That's hilarious. So I don't know why I considered Ronnie Kobo to be like a really good BOLO. And I would put Ronnie Kobo under NOLO. Ronnie Kobo, I think nowadays, is sold a lot at like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, that type of stuff. So Ronnie Kobo is not a BOLO. I would consider it a NOLO. I guess maybe I'd pick it up at the bins, but I still would not even put it in She Needs Help. I think she's fallen off. And I'd put Ronnie Kobo as a NOLO. And last for this second video is Theory. And that's another one that I think is kind of weird that I had it on here. So my relationship with Theory is probably about the same that it used to be, where I definitely don't love it, but certain pieces are okay. Theory borderlines going down to She Needs Some Help, but I feel like I wasn't like obsessed with it back then either, and I'm not now. So I guess same old, same old. Alrighty. Here's where we're getting into some brands that are still gonna be not placed in super high. This one kind of shocked me watching this video. This video is from September 27th, 2018, and it was called Top 10 Brands I Love to Resell. So this is kind of our first iteration of like top 10 favorite brands of all time. Sort of, but it was just me in this video, and again, it's from 2018, so it's pretty old. And yeah, let's just jump into this. So first off, there was, once again, Johnny Was in Sundance in this list. I apparently was just obsessed with Sundance and Johnny Was, so I put them in like every single list. So we're obviously not gonna like re-rank them. So starting off, in my top 10 brands to sell, top 10, mine, like period, my top 10 ever. Lulu's. No. Lulu's is a NOLO. I hate selling Lulu's. I like to pick up some Lulu's to consign. That's it. I don't even think there is a Lulu's dress that exists that I would list myself. I know that this is another maybe like not everyone agrees with this opinion, because some people do like to sell Lulu's. I don't. Even Ryan does. Sometimes. I don't. At all. Ever. So Lulu's is a NOLO for me. That's gonna be a no. Next up we have Longchamp. Longchamp, I would probably say is pretty same old, same old. I don't think that Longchamp has gotten any better for me, but I don't think it's definitely not gotten any worse. Longchamp is another one that almost borders on a growing bond. Huh. I feel like we need to start giving some growing bonds out. I think Longchamp and Koss. I'm altering. I think Koss is a growing bond. I think I know better what to do with it now. I think I know how to price it better. And maybe I would argue that Koss has gotten a little bit better. Koss has had some like really substantial runways that have gotten people like talking. I think the eye has been like looking at them, like the public eye. And Longchamp is really popular, and I think a lot more people know about it now. So I think there's more customers for it. So yeah. Yeah. I think those both deserve a growing bond for sure. Then we have Zara. That's crazy. That's absolutely insane. And because of recent Zaras for me that I think are really cute doing really, really bad, I'm putting Zara in NOLO. I am. Sorry. Yell at me. Chase me down with the Frankenstein pitchforks. That's fine. Zara is a NOLO for me. I swear. Hold me to this, guys. Never let me spend anything more than the bins on Zara. And if it is bin Zara, for like 99% of it, make sure that I give it to Debbie or I consign it because I don't want Zara. I don't want Zara. I have like 3 Zara shackets right now. Shackets. Like trendy, adorable, nice. Some even new with tag shackets. Not doing anything. Nothing happening to them. So yeah, that's a NOLO, Zara. That's a no from me, girl. No. Next up. This is another shocker. I had ASOS. ASOS. As my top 10. ASOS. What in the world was I on? No. That is a NOLO. That is even worse than Lulu's. I would rather have a Poshmark full of Lulu's than ASOS. ASOS is awful. ASOS does terrible. I don't know I don't even pick up ASOS to consign. Whereas Lulu's I would. Hello? Earth to Jack in September of 2018? What are you thinking? No. Then we have J.Crew. J.Crew is another one that has just, for me, I don't know if it's for everyone, but it has always withstood the test of time. J.Crew she's a real one. And I think I'm gonna do same old for her. I love J.Crew. No, you know what? No. J.Crew is a growing bond. I think that I am more well-versed in what pieces do well from J.Crew. And I think, okay, our screen is popping all over the place. I think that I know my J.Crew pieces better. I know what's good. I know what isn't good. I think back then I liked a lot of J.Crew pieces, but I was very strict with the label that was in them. I was kind of loosey-goosey on the pieces themselves. Now, like, I've ruled down the pieces I like the city coat, the sweater blazer, any of the coats, any of the wool blazers. Like, I love those. I will pay up for them. Whereas back in the day, I don't think I would have done that. So that is a growing bond. J.Crew has actually gotten better for me over time. Then we have Hobo International. Now, if you had asked me this like 2 years ago, I would have put it in NOLO. But this year, Hobo is back to being a BOLO for me. It's been doing really good for me lately. And I like finding Hobo. I wouldn't say I don't like it more than I used to. I actually used to really love Hobo. Now, I do really like to find it, but I wouldn't say like I like it more or less than I used to. Then we have Lug. Lug, unfortunately, girl, we need some help. Lug is not as good as it used to be. And I think I would still get Lug in the bins, but like there's no way I would buy Lug at a consignment store or at the thrift store like a regular one. So Lug, we need some eyes on Lugs. We need some new collaborations, we need some new prints, some new pieces, we need a new like marketing team, and then I think Lug could return to being a BOLO, but I don't think I would really consider Lug to be a BOLO anymore. It just doesn't do as well as it used to, so sorry Lug. And last up for my top 10 brands I love to resell in 2018 is Anthropologie. Wow, I can't believe it. Anthro, girl, middle of the line. I think Anthro and I have always had the same relationship with each other, even when everyone was losing hope in Anthro and saying that it doesn't do well anymore. I still loved it. And even when it was at the top of the game, I loved it then too. Like, I've always loved Anthro. I've always had good luck with Anthro. I think I've honed my mind and my tools on Anthro. I know the pieces better and what to pick up and what to pay up for. But but I love Anthro just as much as I always have. All right, we're halfway through. Next up is brands you should be grabbing 3, the Trilogy. So this was from December 20th, 2018, and then we'll be leaving 2018 behind. So first up, we have Worth New York. Worth New York is a NOLO. I wouldn't pick up anything from Worth. I think that that's recency bias as well. I had found one really pretty Worth piece back in 2018 and it did pretty good for me, but I would almost get nothing from them now. There's no value. Then we have Equipment. Equipment is a NOLO. I wish I could put Equipment under She Needs Some Help, but I don't think any help can help her. Equipment clearly will not stray from making silk blouses, and apparently nobody wants them anymore. So I feel like they've sunk their ship. I don't see Equipment coming back, and I do not like to pick it up except at the bins nowadays. Then we have Everlane. I remember before I filmed this, I had just picked up my first piece of Everlane ever, and I would probably say Everlane is same old, because I honestly, if you ask me next year, there's a chance that Everlane could go to She Needs Some Help, because the pieces that do well from Everlane are shrinking and shrinking by the day. But I would say that I still would like to pick up basically anything I find, especially for a cheap price. So Everlane is same old, safe place to be at. Then we have Altuzara. Guys, I'm looking at you, Valentines, the video that you guys saw yesterday. I think I would put Altuzara on Love You More. Yeah. I've recently maybe paid up for a few Altuzara pieces that have been very good. The Valentines know what I'm talking about, but I would say that I like Altuzara a lot more than I used to back in the day. The only way that I knew about Altuzara in 2018 was because I had a J. Crew Altuzara collaboration pair of wedges, which is weird. So yeah, Altuzara gets a Love You More for sure. I've just recently had some really good situations with Altuzara. Then we have Nicholas K. Now, I was obsessed with Nicholas K back then, and I am now, but Nicholas K is almost a Love You More or a growing bond. I think Nicholas K gets a Love You More. Nicholas K is kind of one of my favorite brands to sell. It probably comes very close to being, if I made a top 10 favorite to sell right now, Nicholas K would be a super close, maybe 11, 12, 13th place. Nicholas K is one of the best, kind of it's a very Rick Owens brand. It's kind of lag and look, but it's a little more just you're wearing shambles. Everything's super puffy and deconstructed and all that stuff. I had one piece back then that I didn't pay much for, but nowadays, I think 2 months ago, I paid $125 for a Nicholas K coat. So I would argue that I love it a lot more, willing to pay that much. I really love to sell Nicholas K. So that one is a Love You More. Then we have Tanya Taylor, and this makes me so sad. But Tanya Taylor is actually going... this is painful. I don't know if I can put such a high-end brand on NOLO, but Tanya Taylor's a NOLO. That's really sad. So Tanya Taylor is a luxury brand that back in the early 2010s was worn by royalty, I think by politicians, super popular. I love Tanya Taylor personally. They make such beautiful pieces. It's almost like Rebecca Taylor-esque, but it's luxury. But Tanya Taylor does full. It has no value anywhere on the real to sell it yourself. It just does terrible. So it has to go under NOLO. Stay away from me. I would get it in the bins, of course, because it's luxury, but I would not pay much. Under 10, and it would still have to be a good piece, which is crazy for a luxury brand. That's really hard to say. Then we have Aquatalia. I don't know what I considered Aquatalia to be. Oh, Aquatalia borderlines NOLO and She Needs Help. Aquatalia is another luxury brand. It's luxury shoes, but I don't really think anything from them does very good or keeps its value much. So I think I'm actually putting Aquatalia also under NOLO. I kind of would only pick up Aquatalia at the bins, and only if it was in really good shape. So I think that warrants a NOLO. I don't like Aquatalia. I must have been basing that in this video by its retail prices, because I don't get why I ranked it in this video. Then we have Issa Tapia. I wish I could put Issa Tapia in a growing bond, but I'm gonna put Issa Tapia in same old, because the 2 Issa Tapia shoes that I had in 2018 are the 2 Issa Tapia pieces that I've ever had ever. So I can't really say that I've grown more of a bond or selling history with it, but Isotopia makes the most stunning shoes on the face of the earth. They are so fun, so whimsical, so cool. They're super expensive. They draw in a lot of attention. I love Isotopia. Then last but not least, we have Adeem. I don't know why I put Adeem so high on this. Adeem is another luxury brand that I don't think really does that well. So Adeem is She Needs Some Help because it still exists. The retail is still crazy high, but it doesn't do good anywhere. So She Needs Help, but I would pick up Adeem if it's the newer label at like a thrift store consignment. Probably. Adeem almost borderlines NOLO, which is crazy. Like, this list was bad, Jack. Like, in the part 3 of brands you should be grabbing, I don't know what we were thinking. All right, 2 videos left. The next one is BOLO brands you should be grabbing for. So we finally implemented the word BOLO into the video, and this was the first one that had Ryan in it as well. This one is from June 4th of 2019. Let's get into this. So I think I wrote out this list myself, and Ryan just helped me talk about it. So first up, we have Halston Heritage. Back in 2019, I did have some good luck with Halston Heritage. I would put her under She Needs Some Help now. There's certain pieces for sure that I would pay for. Certain pieces I'd maybe pay up a little bit for. But it's not as good as I feel like it used to be, especially there's a lot of diffusions to Halston now, and I don't think it does super well. Then we have IRO. IRO kind of almost borders like NOLO, but I guess IRO probably deserves She Needs Some Help. That's another just like dated designer luxury brand. It's kind of on tier with like Helmut Lang and like the Kooples and stuff, but it hasn't withstood the test of time as well. So I would put that under She Needs Some Help. Then we have D Squared. D Squared, I would probably also put under She Needs Some Help. They make a lot of very like Y2K-esque stuff, so I could see it coming back sometime soon, but they might miss the window because Y2K is like the extreme popularity of Y2K will not last forever, obviously. And I don't feel like they've like popped on that enough. So I put D Squared under She Needs Some Help. Then we have the Kooples. I love the Kooples. Oh, I love the Kooples so much. This is like Zadig. It's a brand that I personally love. I have still throughout time, I think just last year I sold the Kooples blazer for like $300. I still love the Kooples. It still does really well for me. It has withstood the test of time. So I would put the Kooples in same old, same old. This is hilarious and disgusting. Elizabeth and James. No. No, 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 no. Elizabeth and James, I wish there was something under NOLO because you're awful. Like, get out of here. Like, you and ASOS can see yourself out the door. Elizabeth and James obviously now has a Kohl's line, but even before the Kohl's line came out, they were doing really bad. So I skip every single piece of Elizabeth and James that I see anywhere. I do not even get it at the bins. I kid you not. I recently skipped like a moto jacket. No. No, no. Absolutely not. Then we have Veronica Beard, and this is painful. Oh, I almost... Oh. Do I put Veronica Beard under She Needs Some Help? Veronica Beard value is plummeting, like actively. And I mean, it's not doing as good as it used to, so I can't say it's the same relationship I've always had. Veronica Beard is struggling. I love everything they make. I love Veronica Beard myself, but it's just not, the value's dropping. People aren't like going to the brand as much. I think that they could recoup and recover themselves, but for right now, Veronica Beard is slipping and it's not looking good, girl. Then we have Eskandar. Back then, I had never had a piece, but I knew it was worth money. Today, I've never had a piece, but I know it's worth money. So that is definitely the exact same relationship that I had in 2019. Then we have Acris. No clue why I put Acris on this list. I guess I'd put Acris under She Needs Some Help. I think Acris has some nice pieces, so I don't want to say it's a NOLO, but it doesn't sell well. So I wouldn't pay almost anything for Acris. Like, I'd get really cheap pieces maybe, and then of course I'd get it at the bins. Then we have Escada. Again, I don't really know what I was thinking putting that on this list. Like, Escada, maybe I'll put Escada under same old, same old. I feel like I have the same feeling towards it as I did back then. I have some pieces that I still have right now that are really cute and do get some attention. But for the most part, like the old stuff and everything is like, get rid of it. Like, leave it at the thrift store. So Escada, I guess I could argue same old, same old. And last for this video is Liebskind. Liebskind, I haven't had in a long time. They make these really nice like leather bags, and sometimes they're Anthro, sometimes they're Free People. I would argue, because I haven't still had it much more, that it's kind of same old as back then. I feel like there was like 1 month where I found like 3 of them and then it stopped. So on to the last video for this video, and that is our absolute top 10 favorite brands to resell. And this is from January 26th of 2021. This is much more current than the other ones, but it's still over 3 years ago, which is wild. This is our most viewed video on our channel, which is crazy. So let's set some things straight, because this has changed. So in this video, Ryan had 10, I had 10. There was a little crossover, I think, with 2 brands, but these are my 10 that I had. I can't obviously rank Ryan's, so these are my 10. And again, boy oh boy, have things changed. Starting off with Levi's. I wish I could put Levi's higher, but Levi's needs help. I used to be able to sell a pair of like nice style Levi's, like the wedgies or the 501s, for $50, $60, maybe $70 easily. Not even just like after waiting a while, easy, like within the week. Now, no. You're lucky to get like 45 probably, like that's pretty good. And that's for like really like baggy ones, 45. So that they've slipped. Smartwool. I would say Smartwool and I are right at on the same page as we've always been. I still love Smartwool. I loved it back then. Never has wavered from being on my top brands list. I love Smartwool so much. Next up, we have Barefoot Dreams. Barefoot Dreams, and this kills me because I love it personally, and my mother Debbie loves this brand, is a NOLO. Barefoot Dreams has died. It's kind of like Beta Brand. I view them like they died at the same time. Just, it's not worth it. Only get it at the bins maybe, and probably consign it if you do, honestly. It just does awful. Then we have Heartloom. Heartloom also is a NOLO for me. I wouldn't pay anything for Heartloom. I would get it in the bins. I would consign most of it. And if it was an Anthro piece, I'd sell it myself, but not for as much as I used to be able to. I literally one time like arbitraged from Nordstrom Rack a bunch of Heartloom sweaters for like 15 a piece. That's how much I used to love it. Not anymore. Not anymore. No. I do not like Heartloom. Then we have Coach. Coach, I would argue, has grown. My relationship with Coach is even better than 2021. I love the 1941 pieces. I mean, it's almost the same as it used to be in my head, but I feel like I am even better at picking the pieces worth paying for. Coach is super popular now. Like I was gonna say the kiddos. How old am I? The girlies love Coach. There's so many like they really have like their finger on the pulse of Gen Z and Gen Alpha. So I think Coach is great. Coach is growing. Then we have Sam or S13 or Sam New York. Sam needs some help. Sam does not do as good as it used to back in 2021. It's not a bad brand for sure, but I think it's sold at a lot more places like Nordstrom Rack and like Ross and stuff like that. So it's not as good as it used to be, but it's not terrible. Then we have Spiritual Gangster. That is a no-low. I have skipped Spiritual Gangster pieces that are like $1 at a consignment store. I used to love Spiritual Gangster. I would pay again like 10 to 15 for a non-new with tag sweatshirt, and it would sell like overnight. It's terrible now. It does not do well. It kind of died with Wild Fox, I think. Then we have Spell and the Gypsy Collective. I guess I would do same old, mainly because Spell is not as popular as it used to be. I guess. Like, it used to be so popular, but it's still really popular. So it's only wavered just a little. So I would do same old. It definitely hasn't gotten better, but it's still good. Then we have Brahmin. Brahmin is probably a same old. I still love Brahmin so much. I don't think my relationship with Brahmin has grown, but I don't think it's gotten worse. I would still pay up for a lot of their pieces, and I still don't find it super often. It's kind of the exact same relationship I've always had with it. And last but not least is Stubbs and Wooten. I really want to put Stubbs and Wooten on a growing bond, but I can't say I've had it like a ton since 2021. I think I've had it like 1 or 2 more times, but I love Stubbs and Wooten. I think I've paid up for Stubbs and Wooten more times since 2021, and I'd be much more open to doing it. So just to finish off on a positive note, let's put Stubbs and Wooten on a growing bond. I love Stubbs. I now have my own personal pair with spiders on them. They're like one in the world or something. There's like spider webs and spiders. Those are like a prized possession of mine. I love Stubbs. So Stubbs, you get a growing bond. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our tier list. This was just as fun as I thought it was gonna be. I love this video. I had so much fun making this. Please, please, please let me know what you guys thought. Do you agree with me in this rank? In these rankings? Do you want to see more of these? There's, like I said, so many more BOLO lists we've made. I could do NOLOs. I could do my very first men's BOLO that I made back in our old apartment. There's so much more to do. If you guys liked this, I could change the ranking names to be a little more like funny or something. Just let me know, and let me know what you guys thought of this, because again, I had a freaking blast. So I will see you guys on Sunday with Ryan for What Sold Sunday, but be sure to let me know what you thought. Hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you when I see you, everyone. Goodbye.